Well, good evening, everyone. And before I call it to order, let me just say that in new business, C and D will be switched. I just have them out of order as far as the responses in which I have to bring them to you. So C and D will be switched. We also talked about the HQE, the comparable to Code Red, possibly being an unfinished business. Unfinished business is blank. We're just going to talk about it during report to committee and the police. And so with that, I will call to order the Monday, December 16th, 2024 Prairie Grove City Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Rick Hall,
Here.
Rick Clayton,
Here.
Sue Club. Here. Tony Cunningham.
Here.
Paul Ditmar. Here. Free Greg. Here. Chris Powell.
Here.
Doug Stumble.
Here.
We'll open it up for public comment. Will anyone in the public like to say anything? Hearing none, we'll move on. We have the approval of the November 18th, 2024 regular meeting of the Prairie Grove City Council and the December 12th, 2024 special meeting for the Prairie Grove City Council. I have a motion from Tony.
Second.
And a second by Doug. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. And the treasurer's report, I know we've been behind. We've been kind of talking about this, but the September bank statements were sent to y'all in portion last month, fulfilled the rest of them about 2 weeks ago. Y'all have any questions or comments with the September bank records? Hearing none, we'll move them to audit. Once again, we have no unfinished business. That brings us to new business, and we'll start off with a city ordinance to adopt requirements concerning confinement following animal bites. And I see Captain O'Brien stuck around. And so O'Brien, I know you have a better understanding of what we're doing here, but in essence, we had a dog bite where they bit a person. Am I correct? Is that what it is? Or will you kind of fill us in on the?
So it's been a dog bite that bit a person. We quarantine the animal, and in the process of quarantine, typically do a 10-day quarantine, release the animal back to the individual, make sure that the animal doesn't have rabies. We only quarantine with state law if the animal, we only quarantine in our kennels if the animal does not have the current rabies vaccination. The problem is when releasing back to the owner, state law requires that the animal be vaccinated prior to release. So this puts burden now upon the city to hold that animal and then to make sure that the animal has been vaccinated. So example, making a vet appointment, travel back and forth to the vet because you cannot give the animal back to the individual until it has been vaccinated. The other issue with there is when you have an owner, somebody say, well, I'm not paying for that vet bill, I'm not paying for that cost. So bringing what you see here is proposal to try to remedy some of those solutions.
So the add-on is that item E, which would be $150 fee, which would be the rundown of our cost of doing what Captain O'Brien just explained. That way we could cover the cost to the city if an animal was to bite a person.
How it all fit permanent price and it's good with the time, I mean, that's the council. So we're gonna maintain it. He called it that that's the price that he come up with. They keep raising things like everybody. So that's where that number came from.
Yeah, I would think that 150 could go pretty quickly.
Was there a per day fee for holding them too?
That's in addition.
That's in addition to a per diem. And what's the per diem?
$5 a day for the 10 days.
That seems really low.
I'm sure it is. It's what it always has been. Am I correct on that?
How ever changing. I was like,
Well, but even,
you beat it for that.
that's one thing, I don't know if you cover the food bill.
Yeah, you could
for that.
It probably covers the food bill because 95% of the food is donated,
Yeah.
but, I mean, you still got people that have to go out and clean pan and water. Those are volunteers, I get that, but I mean, there's still a cost. There's still electricity for heat, there's still.
Yeah, I'd encourage us to look at modifying the per diem also.
Could just be at least 10 at a minimum.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Can I,
I would say though, you certainly don't want to discourage
Yeah,
people by the
not to
price
pick
of
it up,
not
yeah.
coming back and getting those dogs, because they'll be able to get with them too. And there are people that the bills do out, that will come in.
Are they quarantined out the pound? Is that where they are?
yes, ma'am.
I would assume if they don't come back and get them, that, is there a cap on the per diem, or is that something we'd have to talk to the judge about, or do you know?
To my knowledge, it just stops at the 10 days. Am I correct on that? Do you know, chief?
10 days is for rabies. Bite,
Right.
a human bite, 10 days. Normally, if we catch an animal running wild, it's 5 days. And we can dispose of it. 5, they don't. Yeah, we don't dispose of it. We give it out to where it can be adopted. Makes sense.
Thank you, sir.
So like for this, after 10 days, if they don't come get the animal, then you could put it up for adoption, but we're still gonna have to get it vaccinated.
No cost.
We would also like y'all entertain the thought of an emergency clause, just so it goes in retroactive if it was passed tonight. And
Would be
so,
retroactive.
yes,
Sorry.
excuse me, yes. And then, so I don't know, can they, I
Is there
guess
a
they
way-
can make the motion to change the 5 day. Can they do that in a motion? If they disagree with the 5 days?
Do that, but it might be better to just bring that back as a separate modification to the ordinance. And let's get this.
If they don't pay it, I mean, we could go after them. To try to claim the money, can't they? I mean, couldn't they? Fresh start.
Right.
Good luck getting it, you know?
Mhm.
Move spend the rules, place the ordinance on first, then we title on.
Second.
Do have an emotion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Rick Holt,
Yes.
Rick Clayton,
Yes.
Sue Pluck, Tony Cunningham,
Yes.
Paul Denmark. Yes. Free Greg. Yes. Chris Powell.
Yes.
Doug Stumble.
Yes.
There is an emergency clause which states this ordinance, we just added it. This ordinance necessary for the protection of the health and welfare of the citizens of Prairie Grove should take immediate effect.
Move further spend the rules, waive second, third reading without the lead.
Second.
Do have a motion second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Rick Holt,
Yes.
Rick Clayton.
Yes.
Sue Pluck, Tony Cunningham.
Yes.
Paul Denmark. Yes. Free Greg. Yes. Chris Powell.
Yes.
Doug Stumble.
Yes.
Adopting emergency clause.
Move to approve the emergency clause.
Second.
Do have an emotion. This is all in favor, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do have a Chris Powell was your second. Doug was your first. I do have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, we'll move on to item B, city ordinance to approve a preliminary plat for the Great subdivision. And with that, we'll turn it over to Mr. Ulrich.
It is up here on the screen. This is on Otter Road. That's aerial of the area. Heritage Parkway towards Otter, if you remember, is the private road that the city took over a year ago. Yep. And at the end of Otter Road is the property that's back here. Some references, some locations, storage building that used to be 62, RV is right here, so that property comes almost back to Heritage Parkway, but not quite. But it's this whole area right here. Large estate lots, these will be on septic. They're 1 acre plus minimum on all of their lots. They are gonna pave all of Otter Road back to, what used to be Highway 170. So the city's not only gonna get the road improved by this subdivision, but you can see, they have provided us with future connections to the north and south. If we ever wanted to acquire this property, we need to connect us back to Heritage Parkway. It would require some private property right here acquiring those rights to do that. Bree, you got any comments about this? Or JC's back there as well?
I'm sorry, unless JC or was also. I don't think this was had anything.
They got approval for their, have they passed their perk test for all their lots?
That
It has now.
he has now?
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Alright. My requirements were the drainage improvements, maintaining a public street, instead of private roadway. And then also improving our road all the way back to Walton Road.
He said they had just got from the night of the meeting, but they got the approvals back from the health department on the first.
They've met all that for you.
What's total number of rooftops?
I think there's 20.
It's Washington Water Authority, isn't it?
Washington Water and then, their septic, that's your sewer.
Suspend the rules, place the ordinance first reading without alone.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Did you second or did Rick? It was Mr. Alt.
Sorry.
Mr. Alt was the second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Rick Ault,
Yes.
Rick Clayton.
Yeah.
Sue Pluck. Yes. Tony Cunningham.
Yes.
Paul Ditmars.
Yes.
Free Greg. Yes. Chris Powell.
Yes.
Doug Stumble.
In order to approve the preliminary plat of Council Stewart subdivision.
Okay, cool. Move first in the rules for second, third reading, adopt the ordinance.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Rick Ault.
Yes.
Rick Clayton.
Yes.
Sue Pluck. Yes. Tony Cunningham.
Yes.
Paul Ditmars.
Yes.
Free Greg. Yes. Chris Powell.
Yes.
Doug Stumble.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and skipping C to run to D would be a city ordinance to waive competitive bidding for construction of the industrial park sewer line, and with that, we'll turn it over to Chuck.
This is part two of the capacity project that we've been working on. Last month, you approved a change order to incorporate the Daggett Bucket Street sanitary sewer line. This is phase two of our capacity project that we're working on, and we've done some value engineering with the contractors themselves on this project in the engineers. And they've come in at $170,000 on the budget. So they got us really good numbers. We're in good place with this one. We will be using some funding reserves to finish the project, but we have the budget for it, and they want to break ground February 1st. Let's get ready for the project.
This goes most of the way up industrial, isn't it? Or
Yes.
pretty well all the way.
There'll be a new 12-inch line that will come south from the bush, ways and then a force main as well from there. But take all the Prairie Meadows and Cider Grove off that existing 12-inch line.
But Chuck, the total value of this is over $1 million, right?
Yes,
So the justification to waive competitive bidding, is it, we don't think another competitor would come in at that price? Because that's one thing Doug municipally taught me to question, well, is anytime we waive competitive
with
bidding.
having the contractor already in the city doing this project, or the other project that we've already had going on, it's gonna save us the mobilization cost, and it'll save us time.
Anyone in the crowd have any comment on this one?
So moved. We suspend the rules, play the ordinance first reading with title only.
Rick Clayton, are you my second, sir? I do have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Anyone in public? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Rick Ault,
No, just from the competitive bidding.
Rick Clayton.
Yes.
Sue Pluck. Yes. Tony Cunningham.
Yes.
Paul Ditmars.
Yes.
Free Greg. Yeah. Chris Powell.
Yes.
Doug Stumble.
Yes.
An ordinance to waive competitive bidding for the construction of industrial park and Bush Street gravity sewer.
We further suspend the rules, waive second, third reading, adopt the ordinance.
You have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Rick Ault,
No.
Rick Clayton.
Yes.
Sue Pluck.
Yes.
Tony Cunningham.
Yes.
Paul Ditmars.
Yes.
Free Greg. Yes. Chris Powell.
Yes.
Doug Stumble.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, we'll move to a resolution to accept change order 2 for all construction. And this is for the sewer line on Industrial Park and Bush Street that you just waived competitive bidding on. there anything that you would like to add? Anything that you missed in?
We recognize this as a pinch point on our capacity that had already been called out by the state, and with all the new subdivisions and development going on the south side of town. This is necessary to free up some capacity and let the subdivision continue to develop.
And I don't know how many of you saw the newsletter today, but I commented on there. I did some calculations this afternoon. And project combined with the Hudson Heights project and the other projects we're doing on the west side of town have taken our capacity and multiplied it by 300%. So these 3 projects or 4 projects are adding 300% capacity to the west side of town. So of course, that's what a lot of growth is. It's Iron Grove and Prairie Meadows and Salem Meadows and Copper Hill is gonna be flowing into this basin as well.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And with that, we'll move on to item E, a resolution to approve changes to the personnel policy. Personnel policy changes that we're referring to is regard to vacation for the fire department. And then just the way the accumulation runs with the police department, that way, the original wording had that even though we allow them to accumulate and allow them to use it as it's accumulated, it was saying that they would have to work a year before they could use it. So our wording was a little bit off. So we were just trying to adopt where both of them match. And in essence, when me and Chief JC started talking about it, it was really just putting our first responders at the same level. So what I'm asking y'all to do today, or what we're asking you to do, is to match the fire department with what the police department already has as far as vacation accumulation. It will raise the vacation of the fire department though, but it'll match them with the other first responders that we employ.
And another thing is we're not making any changes to the city's general personnel policy. So we set it up where it's effective for 2 years, which kind of forces us to look at it every 2 years. It's time to re-adopt it for another 2 years. So that's what we're doing.
Motion to approve the resolution for the change in personnel policy.
I do have a motion and a second by Sue Clark. Bray. So I have a motion by Mr. Old and a second by Mrs. Gregg. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Resolution to accept the 2025 budget. And if y'all have any questions, obviously we'll turn that over to Mr. Ulrich.
Not much has changed from the other night, has it, Larry?
The only change is what you all have asked for. I think Councill library operations budget. We increased construction from 80,000 to 125,000, which will help with a lot of these storm related projects. And hopefully leave a little bit extra that Chuck can make repairs to the pool and some other things, so.
I accepted for the 2025 budget.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Powell, second by Mr. Stumble. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Resolution passes. Thank you. We have a city ordinance to increase the mass salary from 70,000 or the 3% COLA to $72,100. This was something that was asked in our budget meeting by Mr. Powell.
I'll make a motion. I was on. Do you think? We just been a rule, to
clarify, the mayor is an elected official, not an employee.
Right.
So he doesn't,
he can't go to
can't
the
give him
COLA.
that 3% COLA just.
And that's, I think that's what we're kind of talking about
His
there.
salary is set by ordinance. So
Right.
any changes to that have to be made by ordinance.
And since this will be my last time to probably, Larry already knows what I'm gonna say, is I strongly encourage the council to do salary studies periodically. I know we've done that before with internal resources or looking external, and that would be both for mayoral and city employees of some salary study, just to have the full faith and confidence of what that salary is.
I move to suspend the rules. Place the ordinance by title on first reading only.
Second.
Do I have a motion and a second? Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Rick Gall,
Yes.
Rick Clayton,
Yes.
Sue Pluck,
Yes.
Tony Cunningham,
Yes.
Paul Ditmars,
Yes.
Rick Greg,
Yes.
Chris Powell,
Yes.
Doug Stumbaugh.
Yes.
An ordinance to increase the mayor's salary.
Move, suspend the rules. No, move the waive. Move, waive the second, third reading. Adopt the ordinance.
Do have a motion and a second by Mr. Clayton. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Rick Gall,
Yes.
Rick Clayton,
Yes.
Sue Pluck, Tony Cunningham,
Yes.
Paul Ditmars,
Yes.
Rick Greg,
Yes.
Chris Powell,
Yes.
Doug Stumbaugh.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And item H is my request that y'all accept the appointments of Bree Gregg and Kyle Lewis as planning commission members. Bree did her first term and served us well, and we asked her if she would like to come back for a second term, and she did comply. Most people up here know Kyle Lewis. He actually ran against Mr. Andrews for a council seat. He's a local guy, honest, full of integrity, and owns a construction company, so he knows a lot as far as what we have to do with building code and whatnot, so asking y'all to accept those two.
Thanks.
A motion and a second, all in favor, say aye. Pose same sign. You say abstain.
Good idea.
And item I, Melissa Dotson, I can't say enough about Mrs. Dotson, to be honest. Me and Larry has talked about this, and we've all shared some responsibility in the absence of Christine Kelly, but truthfully, Melissa has probably taken 80% of the load from us, and we've kind of shared the other 20% trying to hold it. She has been a rock inside of City Hall, and she has seemingly enjoyed being your city clerk. And so, we not only do I want to thank her, but I'm also asking y'all to entertain the appointment of her to be our permanent city clerk.
Doesn't she have to give a speech or
I
something?
think so. We all gonna bring, if y'all accept it, we all gonna bring her in January and swear her in with the family and do it all official. She may give a speech then.
Move to accept.
I have a motion and a second from a bunch of people, so,
Yeah.
Tony, Yeah.
Where's your second?
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, we'll move to reports of committee sanitation, Sue Clark.
We need to, look at ordering a new truck this year, and we talked about it in the budget meeting, and, I will be looking at prices. After the first year, we've had two vendors that with us so far that have equipment on the yard, and all we have to do is assemble it, so we can get it pretty quick. We just have to make a decision and make sure our budget is, withstanding. So, sanitation is really good.
And before we leave today, I have the rundown of how many people have bags, how many people have carts, and so I'll hand that out to y'all. That way y'all have a month to look at it. I'll make sure that Mrs. Wetzel and Mr. Andrews has it. And that way we can have maybe a better discussion next month as far as what's our next steps on that.
So roughly 2 or 3 months instead of the usual 10 or 12, we have to wait on the trash truck. Okay. Some years we wait the whole year once we order.
Year and a half, 1 year.
Yeah, I know there's one of them, we thought we never was gonna get it.
And one of the things we talked about was whether or not the gas was available for that.
Have we decided whether or not we're supposed to still pick up the sticks and all
The
that?
brush,
We
so
did make a decision.
I didn't think we did.
So that'd be something, because if not, we're gonna have to look at disposal fees,
Right.
and, whether or not we'll have to offset those disposal fees, so that we're going to set rates for customers.
hey, I'll add that to the paperwork so I'll email that stuff as far as brush. I don't know, just kind of our figures on it. First 15 minutes are free, $25 after.
And I'll
Every
have to find
15,
out
but-
from Boston out what they're gonna charge for disposal.
Mhm. And then-
$100 an hour, what we bill on 15-minute increments.
Okay.
And the brush, does that count? That's true. Does that count like those bags where they put the leaves and stuff in? Is that all part of that range? That's
Yeah,
free.
if it's in-
But we'll still have to dispose of that.
And it's still in the same place you're probably supposed to fix that, right?
Yeah.
So we probably need to look at that.
We'll get it all and I'll email it to y'all. Is that it, Mr. Wiley?
Yes, that is.
Street Department, Rick Clayton.
Street department, same thing, everything's going real well, we're waiting to hear. Definitive date to go to bid on the downtown project for those storm drain improvements and the overlay of the downtown and the sidewalks. Had a pretty lucid conversation with the engineer a little over a week ago. I brought the mayor up to date on it, and we still haven't heard from them since then, so we're kind of looking forward to their response pretty soon. Tried to come across with this how this pleased we are with the performance of the engineers and we're waiting for this long, so we're waiting to hear from the department.
That's a good political way of saying it. I will say, and I think it's good that y'all know from the admin team that represents y'all every single day that we are displeased with it. And the one good thing out of it is it allowed us to get through the holiday season without having the streets ripped apart. And so it did give a break to some of the downtown businesses. But as we're sitting here and we still can't look you in the face and say, hey, we're going to bid or we have this, and we don't know if it'll be January, February, or June or July of next year. It's very discouraging on our part. We're not naive to the fact that the downtown does not look good right now. And it's bumpy as all get up to drive through it. And so that way we can share our aggravations with you guys and let y'all know that it's not on deaf ears right now. And we all are in constant communication trying to figure out what is the void here and why are we still in this position? And we don't have a great answer right now.
The large hurdle that they said that needed to be overcome was the environmental impact of the downtown. Because that wasn't part of the initial scope, because using our federal funding, these things could. Well, we're past that hurdle almost a month. So I got approval from RDOT, past that, and so now we're coming to see just what the. They said it was easement and right of way documents, but 90% of easements that we need to acquire for construction are city property. So we don't understand the whole picture.
You good?
Yep.
Water Department, Doug Stumble.
Same way, wastewater plant, we're getting near the end of it. We're gonna start conversations with liquidated damages. There's still one or two pieces of equipment that we purchased and installed that are not running properly. The construction firm has put it back on the contractors that they hired to install the equipment. And ultimately, Carson Heavy is the one that's responsible for it. So we'll be doing the engineers in the next week or two. So I had a meeting with engineers towards the end of last week. They were frustrated. They sent an email to them as well. They want to close out the project because as of last week, we're 1 year past when it was supposed to be completed. Procurement was a lot of that, but the last 6 months, just been troubleshooting and punch list. So it seems like this doesn't want to.
Thank you, Mr. Wiley. Court, Rick Clayton, excuse me, Mr. Rick Clayton.
Mr. Clay? Larry, actually, for my last month, I can go out on a good note. Actually, collections were up substantially. November 2024 collections, total was 44,104. That's compared to same month last year, 35,000, so up quite a bit. Our portion of that this year is 30,175 for the month, compared to 20,345 last year. So actually a good month.
Thank you, sir. And Fire Department, Rick Clayton.
So I'll defer to JC. I was looking at the report. Thank you so much for sending that out. 145 more incidents this year than last year so far. So your typical answer of busy is still fair. Yeah.
In terms of this, just for today, exactly, you guys started at 2 o'clock this morning and they've run 9 calls so far. you take that into consideration, what we used to run, we would average maybe 100 calls a month, and do 10%, you know, well over 10% of what used to be the average call in a day.
I will say in the parade is probably the slowest any of those trucks have ever gone. I think it was trying to let Mayor Falk catch up. but-
Hey, no, them fire trucks took off like a bullet, man.
Car broke down, we were just sitting back there.
Hey. Maybe we shouldn't get into the politics of this, but we were told that you don't throw. And so there was absolutely no way that the chief of police and the mayor, who was leading the thing, could break the rules and start throwing. So it. Hey, you know what, we heard so many good things about it though. Every kid, like we literally stopped to every kid and handed candy. Every single kid got, yeah.
No, your beggar's hand. and then-
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah. But like, it was a blast and I do feel bad for the end and the judges, cause y'all had to wait a little time, but I mean, if, as far as the parade and I don't want to speak for the second Saturdays, but I know the point of it is to give entertainment to the crowd and to bring entertainment to kids. And if nothing else, we did that. Do we have to incorporate, maybe change something next year? Yeah, possibly. The year before I went too fast. That's what y'all told me. This year I went too slow. Yeah, that's what happened when you let, that's what happened when you let an 18-year-old drive. Yes, sir.
Say you judges at the best time,
Well,
Hey, Constable would like to get your table and chair. Try to send them with me today.
I am completely yesterday. I was today, you know.
What someone left tables and chairs out. I brought them to the Chamber of Commerce building. They're in the chamber building because it was gonna, I seen them at like 8 o'clock and I knew it was gonna rain. I thought I better pick them up. There we go. No problem. Parks and Recreation. Chris
Well,
Paul.
no, you approved a good budget for us for next year. There's a lot of repairs we need to get done. I know Chuck has a lot more information on what we're gonna be able to do starting out. So, Chuck, would you like to speak on any of the
Yes,
repairs and stuff that we're gonna start off doing?
Yes, the mayor has been receiving some of the checks from the insurance. Some of them were better than what we hoped
Yes.
for, and of course,
Yes.
most of them were not as good as what we had hoped for. But I think we're gonna be able to end up with a really good product. The guys will start cleaning up and removing all the old fence from the high school field this week as it becomes dry enough. We'll make a decision on the contractor, hopefully to get that replaced. I think we can use the fence that we took down to repair all the privacy fence that we lost at the water park and go back with the black chain link fence over there. We're gonna do most of that work in-house. Met with the pool contractor. He's gonna start the bid for replacing all the concrete around the wading pool. And we start and paint all of it. Hope to have those bids by the end of this week. And they're also looking at maybe doing some other work, like adding another shade structure somewhere. And I told them we would like to implement a 2-year program that we try to do an improvement of some type of amenity at the water park every 2 years. And so we just can keep improving on the footprint.
Right.
And expanding what we have.
And you talked to me about some light poles and the backdrops of the baseball field.
Yes, talked to contractor today. We're gonna work together after Christmas and that's putting up those repairing the backstops and doing some welding over there. And hopefully when we do that, we're gonna start covering the bleachers on each field within 1 field a year. And as funding becomes available, and then we have. Replace the. Okay. So.
Police Department, Doug Stumble.
First chief.
Busy, I sent the numbers out, you know, Jason sent his numbers out, it'd be 2 minutes ahead of him. Just wait all day. So, whatever, honestly, it's all kind of- you know, they both- but, software, free, how we run, so they'll be going back out and throwing no chip pretty soon. We've got one scheduled to the academy, that's the way he's brand new. He will go to the academy, I believe January 11th, so he will start, we'll have one cat, and we've got them in the Northwest, so we don't have to go to Camden, send them to Camden. Shop talk went great, I think there was 80 kids scheduled, and we always have a few just issues come up, I think there was about 72 that showed up. Then we spent around $20,000, so it was a good event, I had a lot of fun. Of course, the program is as important and popular as it ever was. It's getting bigger, all our community events that we hear us talk about, all the money, keep that going, we do the back to school event as well, with that. Busy and doing that all well.
Well, we spent 20,000 at night and then we had, the eighties trivia night right after, and we were able to profit about 7,000. I don't know the exact number, 7,100. So we were able to, the SROs were able to immediately put some money back in the bank and start preparing for next year on that. And also the council, obviously this is not about voting, anything like that. We're just continuing to have conversations, but I sent this out to y'all in email. We actually received it today about 9 o'clock this morning, but this HQE Solutions is a competitor to Code Red. We're in contract with Code Red to April. So we have to make a decision somewhere in that February, March at the latest on exactly what we're gonna do. If we wanted to stick with Code Red and extend, or if we wanted to move off from that HQE, and I'll leave it really, really short. There was just a few things that I wanted to tell y'all, and obviously the sales pitches were so much better than Code Red. But sitting in the sales pitch, they're easily comparable. Like everything that Code Red does, they do. It's an emergency system in which alerts you from getting information from the National Weather Service and the HOAA. And so the one thing that they said that was interesting to us is that they do all the military stuff, and I'm assuming this has to do with their military contract, but if a tornado was to come through and knock down cell towers and you was to lose cell power, they have the ability to give you 4 hours of temporary cell power. That way you could actually give out notifications and different stuff. And so you only get it that one 4-hour hit is all you get. So if if the towers are down for 3 days, you're not getting it but 1 4-hour hit. But that is something to my knowledge that Code Red doesn't offer. The mass notifications, they've really pushed that thing. That is something that we get with Code Red as well. It is also something I believe we have with our Councill water billing. Tisha is doing some research on how we use it. In fact, I think she's going to try to use it on Friday for some stuff they have.
And this temporary Code Red, there was some type of issue, sometimes places did not go out. We do have Councill working on that right now. They contacted us late this afternoon and said that they were looking into it and they will find a solution and figure out just what the issue was, and then we'll try it again. One of the things that we're looking at is mapping. We've been reorganizing all of our water meter books. And so we're going to use that same mapping to try to look at different regions that we can use that put into Councill. And so that way we can pull up those specific areas when we want to do a notification. If there's a water leak that only affects the mountain view subdivision, then we'll send out notifications just to residents in that area.
Yeah.
And so we talked about that this afternoon.
What Natisha told me was that right now it is mapped out by your trash routes. And so in essence, if you had a water leak and it affected 2 of them, you would have to send out to both regions and just kind of map out the idea. So it's not a perfect science now. I just want y'all to know that Councill has it. We just have to figure out if we can figure it out and master it before we make a decision on Code Red, this or even another option.
What kind of emphasize too with Code Red and those, I'm sure this one's gonna be
So
very
many.
similar. When you're sending out mass notifications, you literally can draw on the screen and follow whatever street you want to and make you can make whatever shape you want. It'll only notify the people within that shape. So it's only half of Mountain View subdivision that's affected by a gas leak. You can map out half of the subdivision. Anything you highlight on the screen, that's what it calls.
And I assume it's still a subscription-based thing, that one thing, and Mr. Parker may know what I'm gonna say before this, most of those require a opt-out. So when they signed up with the water department, if they didn't specifically opt into receiving those notifications, that's something you'd want to explore before you send out messaging and all of that, if there's the legal opt-out requirements that would be there. Those that have signed up for Code Red, they would have gone through the legal disclaimer to signed up. So if the contract ends in April for Code Red, you're right, Mr. Mayor, the runway to get all of the citizens to go re-sign up for a new system is gonna, you may have to overlap
Yes.
those.
And I may butcher it a little bit, but it's the way you brought it up is the way the salesman, what they do from AQE is an opt-out. So what they want you to do is take basically your water billing and everyone's already in. And then we send out notification that say, if you want to opt out, then that way, I think Code Red was the opposite, where we tried to push people to come in. They want you to just say, it's an automatic enroll, and then you have to opt out. We really have a great turnout with Code Red. We have a good percentage. Mhm,
And Councill is the same thing, you would have to have people sign up for it,
mhm.
because it's part of the, messaging system. You know, somebody wants text messages to their billing services, it's similar to that, you have to sign up for your text messages to get those alerts.
So we already been collecting those phone numbers for
The ones
text
that want to
messaging with
do it
Council?
for the billing software, because he says there's a majority that have not even signed up for that notification. So if we wanted to use it for emergency services, we would have to push that same, you know, get people registered and ask them to go in there.
It's on their application form for all new users,
Right,
but the problem is people change phone numbers a lot nowadays.
right.
And so we have a lot of people who have phone numbers that don't work anymore.
It's one of those things we probably almost have to campaign it every year, just
We
re-up.
put notices on the bills, or at least we used to, that said, please update your phone numbers and information, but a lot of people don't want us calling them for whatever reason.
And there's a month every year, and Rob, I can't remember what month it is. It's basically an emergency management awareness month that most municipality corporations use that month as the reminder of
I always
those.
told customers that, you know, you may not want us contacting you, but it benefits you, because if you have a
Right.
water leak or something we need to notify you about, we better have your phone number. Yeah.
And the price. So Code Red was sitting somewhere right around 8,000, I think maybe 8,1, 8,2 this year. We budgeted for 9,000 next year, because if we use the mass notifications, there's more money to it. This one here is roughly first year 3,489.76, and then 4,985 after. So you're looking at saving about $3,000 a year, if not a little bit more, with what we believe is a comparable service, if not maybe even a little bit better.
They started as a defense contractor, and we're doing very sophisticated notifications during wartime type events overseas, where security was extremely important. So that was their start. And these folks have all left the military now and started this private company, but they're using a lot of the same technology. They're still licensed by DOD. They're the only company that does this certification, that has all their Defense Department certifications. So they're pretty impressive group.
We leverage a similar thing in our emergency operations center at my employer, but, yeah, I just think the ramp up time would be a unique thing to watch out for.
And so the one other thing that I would like to talk to y'all about, and then we'll end it and go on, is I talked to Fayetteville. Fayetteville left Code Red. Well, when Fayetteville left Code Red, they used iPause system, which is what they use for mass notifications, which is what HQE uses for mass notifications. Outside of that, Fayetteville took the stance of, listen, we're going to pay a mediator to give you the information from the National Weather Service. When you can get the free app from the National Weather Service on your phone, and so instead of telling you to get Code Red or to get HQE, and we're gonna pay for the service and then force you to get one of those services, let's just skip the middleman and let's just force the issue of telling I should say force the issue, but let's encourage the issue of telling our citizen base to just get the free app from the National Weather Service and then cut out the middleman. The only negative to that is you don't get mass notifications, which is why I brought up Councill earlier and whether or not we can master that. Because if we could master it, then we'd be no different than Fayetteville. You take your hands off of it, you encourage your citizen base to get the National Weather Services, which is where they're getting the update, where the middleman is getting the update anyway. So we get through our long sales pitch, and I asked them that question. Hey, just out of curiosity, this is what we're thinking, this is where I am. Why should I pay you money to give me information I can get from a free app? And ultimately, he brings us back to mass notifications. Listen, if you have a coal accident and you want to get people around, if you have a water leak, if you have a gas leak, and this is what we're going to provide for you, and you can get all this stuff out and zone it. And so I don't know, honestly, this is the beauty of having the 8 members next to me, because I don't know which direction necessarily we should go in, but free always sounds pretty good. And then we take our hands off of it instead of taking a responsibility of telling the citizens, you should have Code Red. And then when Code Red fails, who's it on? It's on us. We told them to get Code Red. So if nothing else, you have an option out there to just encourage people to get Channel 5 News and 4029 and National Weather Service. And
Almost all the news now has their own apps.
Yes.
Broadcast stuff.
And so I'm just saying that because the one privilege you get from these is the mass notifications. And hopefully by next month, we can give you a pretty good update on what we can do with Councill and the mass notifications. If nothing else, HQE seems to be pretty legit for $3,000 less a year than Code Red.
Just,
4,000. Yeah, for the first year.
Question I asked before, if there's no other cities around here that use HQE.
I'll say this, I didn't do enough research prior to the sales pitch. And then when we got it this morning, I thought, it's perfect, I got something I can bring to y'all. I don't know that answer. When doing the sales pitch, it was a lot of West Coast. We talked a lot about up and down the California coast and
Big
yes.
population, yeah, doing now, too.
Metro cities.
He's
So-
talking about the county that they're working at right now, have a population of 3 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bigger areas, pretty rough for sure.
And with that, we'll move on to long range planning. Greg.
We talked about the girl subdivision. They also brought the RV park, concept resubmittal. I forgot my notes, but I think it was, y'all help me, the permanent spots, like 15. And then 12 to 15 permanent spots, and then 4 to 6. Is that right? There we go.
Everything in green, everything in blue, and everything in purple has some type of a septic system connection, so they have sewer outlets. These up at the front, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, don't have any sewer, they have water but not sewer.
The dump station would be in the back. The trash receptacles would be in front.
Public restrooms at the front,
Yeah.
restrooms and showers, I think he said, didn't he?
Yes. Trying to think if there's anything else on that we talked about. They want it to be nice, like a higher end RV park. So the frontage would be not gated, but like a nice entryway and stuff, and to hide the showers in the bathrooms.
Screening and vegetation up front.
Yes,
I mean, the ordinance covers some of that, and
yes.
Will there be privacy fencing around the park?
They're gonna leave the existing trees And then there would be requirements for either some type of. It could be vegetated or it could be hardscape.
What's around, yeah, is that house what's adjacent there?
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too-
Well, there's eight.
Yeah.
And then it's Parton's to the right. Yeah, Parton's to
Okay.
the right. Sorry, no, well, just like lawn stay, sorry, I didn't mean it like the permit.
Whatever the city's ordinance will allow.
Yes. Not, well, basically hooked up sewer. The other ones would be not.
Right.
So they wanted to not do any of those. I don't, yeah, sure. And the RV professionals of the group suggested that they have a mix of both. And so we thought that was a good idea too, so they brought that back to us. But we think it's a good idea, it's a good spot for it. And their plans seem to be really good.
What's in the back, the squares? Like the big squares in the back. Oh,
These are also.
Leach field for their.
Okay, so we had that, and then we had the, concept sketch plat for Mott Street West subdivision by Jerry Coyle and Brad Smith. So y'all can see, or you might show them where that comes in at.
This is Prairie Meadows, so this is Snyder Grove, and this, of course, this is Google Maps, so it's not showing, these houses are already built out here, they're both row houses. This would be Butterflies and
Caterpillars.
Caterpillars daycare. That's Jerry Cole's office. That helps you.
Aren't they required to have two streets, inlet and outlet streets?
It's planning commission, this is concept only, so the planning commission reviewed this and the fire department has asked them to connect this to the highway at this point. So this road would be extended down here to the highway. They show this connection, but this connection is not feasible or practical because there's already a house right there. So, probably not practical for it to go through the back of the house. Makes me wonder how much research the engineer did.
What's the little street stubbed off before you get to the subdivision, the big horseshoe part? The one coming right behind the, yeah, that one. What's that one for? Is there some lots in there or something?
There's a pump station.
Yeah.
So they do have lots along it,
Okay.
so I'm assuming it's just to access those lots.
That is
They have a
the
T.
original townhome that you approved last year.
They have done away with the townhome concept now, and it's just gonna be building lots.
Okay.
Larry, where the road's gonna extend down to the highway, am I correct in saying that the state only allows certain number, and is that what that is right there? Okay, gotcha.
And the state will allow it to move a little bit.
Okay,
Way, we just cannot add more.
Yeah, I don't think if we wanted this thing to run
Straight across
I think
there.
the same would have an issue with moving it.
Right.
15 feet.
So they're gonna bring it back into revised.
They'll bring back a preliminary plat next.
This was basically just to see if we,
And then they'll show the street improvement.
how many houses?
60. Is that right? Is that right, Bree? Did you write that down? Everyone?
I didn't bring my, I forgot my.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Was it 60? Maybe give her, take one or two.
Will there be a detention pond somewhere there?
That'll be based on their drainage study when they submit their preliminary plat. We don't know the whole purpose of the concept plat is they don't have to spend a whole lot of money on engineering. They are showing a potential when I hear underneath the power line.
That's all we have.
Is that it, Mrs. Bray?
Yes.
That's it. Senior citizens, Paula Ditmos.
This Friday, they're having a luncheon with the senior center at Dirty Santa Exchange.
And they're closed Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then they're gonna have a New Year's Eve celebration on the 26th of December and have a dance. And it's a New Year's thing, huh?
Of the senior center.
Oh, we
cake
go on?
party.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's gonna be.
I
Sound
wasn't
good?
sure if they're gonna fit.
We wanna go there.
Yeah, what time's the ball drop? this year?
6:30. Same time we dropped at the parade green.
Library, Tony Cunningham.
The library's still just keep on. They've had the best year since before COVID about new library cards that they've issued. About 100 a month that they've gained on that. So a lot of people, as they move in, go for library. And Megan was kind enough to invite me down to had a little get together for the library board and the Friends of the Library. That was a nice little function. Got to meet those folks. Good people. We're very fortunate here in Prairie Grove to have members of that library board that really think about the things they need for the community. So good group.
And they won most original trophy in the Christmas.
Speak up. I got that.
In the Christmas parade.
Yes, they did.
Mayor, if I could briefly, go back to the Parks Committee.
Yes.
The repair work that we're doing on all the baseball fields with the lighting. I've already approved the lighting because of the bid for replacing everything on the softball field. But the bid for repairing all the rest of the lights is gonna come in a little bit over what I'm authorized to spend. So we'll be bringing something back next month to approve the contract for that individual to continue with all the repairs and stuff. But we'll have all the lights back 100% before baseball season starts this year. With all the lights on the softball field.
Since Miss Shreve is back there and made a comment, I want to compliment you guys on your breakfast that you have every second Saturday. And if you haven't been down to it, they put out some of the best pancakes you're going to eat.
Oh, John Aaron's knows how to flip a pancake, I tell you. Y'all, probably the most important announcement tonight is the opportunity to honor Mr. Rick Layton and Mr. Rick Alt for their many, many years of service. And I won't read both of them. We have plaques for the two gentlemen. They, outside of the first paragraph where it talks about their final meeting and the years in which they have served. The plaque says, "Our sincere gratitude for your service." And then we'll skip the first paragraph, but it says, "With great appreciation, depth of gratitude, and sincerity in speech, we give thanks to," and it's Mr. Rick Clayton and Mr. Rick Alt, the city of Prairie Grove, esteemed members of the Prairie Grove Council, Planning Commission, and the citizens of this great city want to express their heartfelt gratitude for your dedication and sacrifice to Prairie Grove. Your service has given the city and its citizens much to cheer for. Your leadership will be felt for years to come. Your wisdom through challenging situations have been invaluable and will be greatly missed. The mark you leave will never be forgotten. The mark you leave will never be forgotten. With great honor, admiration, and sincerity, we bid you congratulations on your retirement from the seat on the city council. We wish you great fortune and pray blessings over you and your family as you move to the next phase of life. This plaque symbolizes our appreciation, a marker immortalizing your service to the city of Prairie Grove, and a final showing of our gratitude to you. Sincerely, the city of Prairie Grove. Thank you. I'm gonna hand this to y'all gentlemen. And if y'all wanna say anything. Thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure. I've only spent 2 years with y'all gentlemen, but it has been a pleasure. I know y'all done so much more than I know what can explain, but it has been a pleasure. This is remarkable because challenges forces us to be better in leadership. And so when I wrote that and said that your wisdom will be missed, I promise your wisdom will be missed. I thank you for the 2 years that I spent with you guys. Thank you. You all like to say anything? Would anyone like to say anything about it? Anyone enough? Well, with.
My mom always said, if I can't say anything nice. That's true.
Thank you all very much. It's been my pleasure.
Great. Even after I made the Grinch comment.
Y'all, with that, we will end with any announcements that y'all have. Do y'all have anything that y'all would like to, anything coming up? It feels like it's been a busy month. Is there anything past this?
I just want to ask, we talked about the animal daily impoundment fee, raising that, and I heard $10 and also $25. So you don't want me to come back to it, but you want to leave it for further discussion next month, or?
You don't want to just leave it
I'm pleased to say I
for
have no opinion.
Could you at least kind of research, see, I mean, we don't wanna. We
Leave-
don't wanna price ourselves out of it.
leave it for further, and then I'll bring it back next
We'll
month.
see kind of what other cities are bringing in.
Okay.
You care to check around and see what some of the other cities are doing, at least be fair with what everybody else is doing.
Price per day.
Christmas, breakfast, Christmas morning, Christmas.
That's right.
And then the American Legion, free community dinner on Saturday, January, 6 to 8 p.m. January 11th.
And I will send out an email with Mrs. Wetzel and Mr. Andrews. We believe it's 10 days to have them sworn in. We will do that here along with Mrs. Clark, Mrs. Gregg, and Mrs. Dobson, and we'll throw a little bit of party. It may not be this big, but we'll have some muffins, and we'll allow families to come in, and we'll make it a lot more special than. And so I will send out an email, and we'll post that on the city's website, just so if anyone in the public would like to come. It won't be a meeting, but it'll be nice to see people just log in. There's no other announcements.
Oh, with that, Mr. Mayor, I think you've gotten all the way through your agenda this evening. I'd like to, at this point, make a motion to adjourn.
You gotta let the
Mo-
vote in the second.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, never mind.
I would be pleased to accept the motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.